Hey guys, just got to my hotel room. It's the last night here for me. Karen and Violet will be staying a bit longer. Yeah, same hotel as I stayed in the first night with Karen and Violet, but this time it's just a single room. It's not got any tatami floor. Still a nice room. It's pretty clean, tidy, so that's good. Yeah, bit unfortunate that my flight is booked for now Terminal 2 to go home. So that's a bit of a pain because this hotel is in Terminal 3. We arrived in Terminal 3, but I think since the start of October, ANA have been changing which terminals they arrive at, I believe, either 2 or 3. And just unlucky that this time it's Terminal 2 for me. So yeah, had an internal flight from Toyama to Haneda, arrived at Terminal 2. I've now transferred to Terminal 3. To stay at the hotel tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'll wake up and transfer back to Terminal 2. Luckily there's a free shuttle bus that runs quite regular, so it's not really an issue. It's just would have been nice if it was the same terminal, but hey ho, we didn't know. So yeah, my plan is to get some food, get some sleep, not too much though because I want to sleep on the flight if possible because I've got a long drive once I get back to the UK. I hope you've all enjoyed the Japan vlogs. There's been a few days where we've gone out and done things, not whole days, but a few days where we've done certain things, not really enough to make one vlog from. So I've decided kind of in this vlog, this episode or whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna kind of wrap everything up and give you a glimpse of all the other little bits and pieces that we did. So let's have a look, shall we? Where are we going today?
We're going to Shikibosaikan in Japanese.
Okay.
Where we can have interesting experiences about natural disasters. We can learn or we can try natural disasters experience.
Okay. So it's like a natural disaster experience centre. Is it for like for education?
Yes.
And to learn how to prepare?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Yeah. Violet is not happy at the moment.
Yeah, we forgot to bring a toy for her.
We have some.
We do have some, but it's not the one she wants.
Ganbatte. Oh dear.
火災発生、直ちに避難してください。火災発生、直ちに避難してください。
So this is the smoke simulator. I have to try and find my way through. As you can see, you can barely see anything. I can see the light. I need to follow the lights. Smelly. I found the escape. I made it. Takita. So we just had a earthquake experience. It was quite interesting, various magnitudes, and then they simulated some like historic earthquakes. That was quite interesting, having never really experienced one in, well, definitely not one in Japan. I've experienced them in the UK, but yeah, they're very weak in comparison. So it's yeah, a really cool place actually. It's very educational for people to learn. We saw a load of school kids here And I believe Karen has been here a few times when she was younger. Yeah, so it's set out in a few different zones. We have spring, summer, autumn and winter. Each room has kind of like a different theme to it. So this one here was the smoke, which I think I showed you, or I should have showed you by now. So that simulates you're in a hotel room and then the fire alarm goes off and how to kind of evacuate safely. In this room we did some fire extinguisher training. Never used one before, so in this demonstration they used compressed air and water. But yeah, that was really interesting. Having never used one before, that's quite a useful thing to learn how to do. In this room, two things. I experienced a typhoon, so I stood in that room, blew some air and blew some air and rain in my face. That was quite interesting. It's quite hard to breathe with that much air movement. And then over here, put on some waders and I walked as if it had been flooding. They added a current to the water and it's at various depths. That was quite interesting as well. It's okay walking, but as soon as you start to add current and then go against the current, it can soon become quite tiresome, I think. Over here we have an avalanche simulator.
Maybe we have to wait for 1 minute and a half.
Okay, we'll come back to that one. The avalanche simulator. So these trees are 2 meters.
Yes.
Simulated 2 meters depth. And this just shows you a avalanche.
Yeah,
Here we
it's
go.
ready.
You want to press it, Violet? Whoa.
Wow.
Shows you how quick it can happen. What did you think?
びっくりしたね。
Yeah, she really likes that button.
Yeah, she does.
This was a little demonstration about the wind. So Toyama is here, in this bay here. You can see it's surrounded by mountains, and it was demonstrating how you can get 20-degree air come up. As it rises over the mountain, it cools down to about 5 degrees. But then as it drops back off the mountain again, it's up to 25 degrees once it gets down to Toyama. So it's a very dry, hot air, and this of course can really be bad for fires because it helps obviously them grow. So this is quite an interesting map. It shows, if it focuses, it shows kind of the past history of some of the earthquakes that have been recorded. You can see that Japan sits on 4 tectonic plates, hence why it gets so many earthquakes. And they predict, I think, within the next 20 or 30 years that Tokyo will potentially have quite a big earthquake. Tokyo's up, let me get my finger right, up in here, and it's sat very close to the edge of a tectonic plate. Hopefully not, but potentially. Here's a world map of the tectonic plates. Hopefully that's showing up well. You can see England way up here, very far from any kind of tectonic plate, hence why we don't really have earthquakes. We have had a couple, certainly in my lifetime. There's been a couple, but they've been very, very minor in comparison. Of course, the inner geek in me couldn't help but notice these 2 water pumps, or firefighters. This one being a hand driven pump. Actually, turns out this one is British made, this pump, which is quite interesting. Quite old, of course. This one, again, quite old, but obviously much newer than the one next to it. For one, it's got rubber tyres, and secondly, it has some kind of engine driving the pump. Yeah, quite cool. Love to see this kind of thing. Nice handle crank start there, and I guess that's a siren on top, probably. Yeah, it's really cool to see. Both, interestingly, are horse-drawn though, so still quite old, I guess. So that was a really interesting experience. You've been there a few times, you said, when you were younger.
Yes, school trip.
But I think it's quite good to give education. So
Yes, yeah, and it's free.
yeah, that's really good service.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite fun. Certainly learned a few things. Like I said, I've never actually experienced a real earthquake. I say real because in the UK we've had earthquakes, but I wouldn't say they were real ones, not compared to Japan. But yeah, it's interesting to prepare for that. Use a fire extinguisher. I've never used one before. I think I knew how to use one, but it's good to actually practice using one.
Yeah.
That was quite good.
Yeah, and you said it's almost the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as the UK, so that's really good. But also, there's other things that I wouldn't really consider. You don't consider living in the UK. The guide that was with us, he was really nice, really friendly.
Yes.
And he was explaining things like for earthquakes, you should even consider like the way your furniture is.
Yeah.
Now in the UK,
We don't care.
We don't care. We'd never think about that. But now you think about it, actually, if you have like a bookcase next to the door, if an earthquake falls, it's now blocked the door.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's really something to consider. I mean, we don't really have earthquakes in the UK, but certainly if I was living in Japan, I wouldn't have ever thought of that until then. So yeah, that's something really interesting.
Yeah, and also you felt the difference of earthquake, how to wave, how to move
Yeah.
the ground.
You kind of get a lateral movement as well, an up and down
Yes,
movement.
yeah.
So it's really, interesting. But some of those were really strong.
Are you scared?
I'm not sure.
But this time you knew that it will come.
Yeah,
But earthquake will come suddenly.
I think that's the difference. Is I knew that was coming because there's a little bit of a countdown and then it started.
Yeah.
But certainly some of those, especially. So we started off by just doing simulation like at level 1, level 2, in steps.
Yeah.
And then we tried out some like historic ones. And that's the interesting thing is, if you weren't expecting it, some of them started like for maybe 2 seconds, there's only a real gentle movement. So I thought, okay, but then all of a sudden it's really strong movement.
Yes.
I think if you weren't expecting it, that would really take you by surprise.
Yeah. That's why we should prepare in advance.
Yeah, it's definitely very different to the UK. Really, in the UK, we're quite fortunate that we don't, or certainly where I'm from, we don't really have strong wind or like strong wind. We do have a little bit of a strong wind, but nothing like a typhoon. We don't really have that much snow. Okay, it does get hot, but it's not really that hot compared to the rest of the world. In the UK, our weather and our natural kind of disasters, in comparison to some other places in the world, are quite mild. I'm not saying that they're not, because we do have a lot of flooding, which is very sad. But certainly in my area, we don't have any of that kind of thing. So yeah, it's good to prepare.
Yep.
Are you watching sumo? Tanoshii? Violet. He's gone. So we are at Shirakawa, a World Heritage Site. So we're at Shirakawa. Looks like a fairly hot tourist spot. Lots of tourists here. We're just having a wander around. It is a heritage site, I think, isn't it? Yeah, one of the heritage sites. So yeah, it looks quite cool. I'll give you a little look. Wrong way. Violet, come back. Violet, come back. It's now raining and I didn't bring a coat or an umbrella. Luckily, Karen did. Possibly not the best weather to come to Shirakawa. Violet has been demoted to the baby carrier because she's being a little bit... She's not in a good mood now. It's nice that they have all these kind of real old style buildings and kind of old style buildings for the shops and pieces. Quite cool. So interestingly, although these are old houses, they are actually lived in, which is yeah, I'd love to see inside one and see what like the living conditions are like. I'm going to guess that they're probably quite expensive to live in. Looks like the girls have done a runner in the distance there. It'd be nice to get up there so we can get an overview of the place, but I'm not actually sure how we get up there. It's quite steep, so I don't know whether we can walk up there from here or whether we have to drive somewhere else and go from there. I'm not sure. Another shop. A cool barn in the distance there. I must say the rain clouds over the top of the hills here really add to the atmosphere of the place. So the rain has eased off a little bit, it's still quite hot and humid, so we've stopped off for a whippy. Violet's enjoying her finger at the moment more than the whippy though. You've got to take your finger out, you can't eat it with your finger in there. Oh no. We just got Violet her first sword. She's really happy.
Yeah,
In the handle it makes like a squeaking noise.
Yeah. You're a samurai now.
video. 美味しそう。Look, what's Mummy doing? Let's get close. It's a bit harder. Yeah, that's it. Just it. So in this pit of what looks like eggs, there are a couple that are different shapes, and I just found one. The acorn looks like an acorn, which is what that song is based on. Right over there. Quite cool. And this room is like a not bookshop, maybe shops or something.
Yeah, fish shop, sushi, restaurant, bookshop.
Yeah. Nice. Irashaimase. Irashaimase. You'd like some sushi? Yeah. Like something sushi. Yeah. All yours. That's like the second or third time she's hit that. And again, you really misjudging that roof. Your forehead. Planet, let's go see Mummy's shop. Arigato. Some real funky walking. It's quite cool actually. They've got this soft kind of landing, this rock climb section up into this netting, and it goes all the way up there, and then the kids can actually walk all the way around here, like up in the air, and then it kind of drops down over there around the corner. Yo! So going here. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Just tidied up the rest of what we did in Japan. We did a lot more, but I didn't film everything, just because sometimes you want to just kind of enjoy the moment rather than film it. Sad to leave Japan, sad to leave Violet and Karen, of course, and family here, but back to the UK, back to work for me. And then we'll see what we can do when we're back in England. I've got a few things planned for the GTR. You'll have a look and see. Hopefully the weather's nice there. I'm not sure what it is. Probably raining. Knowing England, probably won't be driving much, but we'll try and do something with the GTR. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you did, give it a real good thumbs up. If you haven't seen the other videos, please go check them out. I think you will enjoy them. And yeah, back to England and back to cold, damp weather. Oh well. Anyway, catch you later, guys. See ya.